Imagine, in 2015, Netflix makes a Daredevil show that is based on the premise of an innocent civilian either learning about or seeing something they shouldn't have, surrounding a mysterious and violent criminal organization. They send bad men after the innocent civilian. Except... Now imagine, 10 years later, Disney Plus makes a Daredevil show that is based on the premise of an innocent civilian either learning about or seeing something they shouldn't have, surrounding a violent, criminal-toned organization. They send bad men after the innocent civilian, except...
Coincidence? I think not. Move!
Alrighty then, your hosts were the forces, Cortosis with the mostest. Today we're going to be boasting dosis, roasting the stink that is right under our noses. And in the trash bin today is Daredevil Born Again. And yeah, I'm releasing this the day before the next episode. We're doing it differently because sometimes it just gotta. So first, I'm just sorry, but if you ask me, the creators of the show should have definitely used a coat hanger early on, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, relax, don't be so sensitive. So to begin, we're actually going to be fair here and say that if you've never seen the Netflix Daredevil series, firstly, what the hell is wrong with you? And secondly, I could bring myself to kind of perceive as to how one might think this show is something like...
I'm really excited for the show. I know a lot of people, didn't love Ahsoka, but for those of us that did, I predict that Daredevil Born Again will pull numbers that we have literally never seen on Disney Plus. And I'm talking about potential viewership that touches some crazy numbers. And it's going to break into numbers that we just have not seen before.
And sure, we can easily pull a Rogue One and say something like,
guys, so far, this might be the best Marvel Disney Plus show of all time.
And saying one pile of turd is the best out of a giant bin full of turd just ain't gonna cut it for me. But if you happen to be someone who can put all things aside for the most part and just enjoy a show solely because of, for instance, gratuitous violence, then hey, you do you. I fully get that we're only 2 episodes in, but you see, these 2 episodes, they provide us with a couple of things. Get it? 2 episodes, couple of things. Yeah, okay. Alright, but the first thing I noticed was the vibe at Josie's just didn't fit right. It seemed off. The overall context of the show, how it ended last time in season 3, it just felt off to me. And it immediately left me thinking, okay, where are we going with this? I don't think anyone had any issue with Foggy dying, but with something of this magnitude, it's all in the how and the when. And this just wasn't the right how and when for me. As for the showrunners, it seemed they actually needed this.
There's a lot of stories that it does offer, his death does offer to us.
Right. Yeah, but the truth is, we're coming in with an idea, and we have to have a reason for remaking the show. You've got to be bold. You've got to be brave and bold. But in order to do that, there's got to be a real reason. It can't just be anything. It has to be a bombshell.
Yeah.
You can't help but deny it's brave.
So basically, to make the show and get people invested, they needed such an immediate, dramatic, and drastic event to overtake the show. And it really started to lose me personally at this point, because that's not what should be needed at all for a show like Daredevil. I mean, I'm all for starting out with a bang, but this felt almost desperate, and it felt like emotional bait to hook the audience. And I'm also left wondering, what if Foggy was inside? Then what? I mean, the fact he gets a phone call, steps outside, is in range of his home where he stashed Benny, and is in perfect range of Bullseye, it's all really, really convenient. Bullseye takes out everyone except Karen, but then walks up to her pointing a gun, which of course gives just enough time for... So far we got one coinkydink after another. Anyone who has seen the Netflix version fights between Bullseye or Dex and Daredevil knows how legendary they absolutely are. The dynamic and creativity is just so on point. Yet this fight scene was terrible. Not only do we see the same moves multiple times, but it's all smoky, it's hard to see, so let's just turn the lights out and make it worse. And you know what will make it even worse? Just lock the entire scene down by closing the doors. That literally makes it feel like a Broadway show ending. And suddenly Daredevil has like 30 knives stuck in him. And it leads to perhaps the biggest disappointment, where Daredevil just casually throws his entire moral code out the window and throws Bullseye off the building, 100% intending to kill him. And of course, with Bullseye having the cognium surgery, he survives the fall and Daredevil still has his code. Wow, another coincidence. I'm shocked. I know, the originality is just off the rails. We know Punisher is coming, Jessica Jones is still around, maybe Iron Fist will come back from Japan or Kunlun, and, Luke Cage is probably robbing a stash house or at the barbershop, and we can only wonder who else might appear.
These Hell's Kitchen nostalgia is running pretty thin with you guys.
And while Fisk hired Bullseye to dress like Daredevil to make him look bad and go after him, it was ultimately Kingpin who crippled Bullseye. So you'd think Bullseye would go after Kingpin, right? Wrong, apparently. This show essentially is a bizarro world flip script of the original show with an immediate and poorly executed emotional hook. Sure, the DEI is dialed down for the most part as far as Marvel goes, and I say for the most part because it seems rather apparent that Karen Page has been relegated to the bent for Letitia over here, and Matt's moving on up from a white receptionist to, a Mediterranean psychologist. And then we get to the big bad Kingpin, who is now second fiddle to the gender swap of his wife, taking his place as the crime boss. And this is a drastically different Vanessa from the Netflix version, because she was never really all that down with Kingpin's criminal empire, though she tolerated it. In the last episode of season 3, she begged for Matt not to kill him at the end, and she was almost killed by Bullseye after already being poisoned. And now?
When you were gone, I made this business bulletproof.
Plus Fisk is definitely getting cucked.
I know about Adam, Vanessa.
Do not kill him.
Not that man anymore.
But now Fisk can fix it. Fix what, you ask? Well, obviously he's going to drag the vigilantes through the dirt, but more importantly, he fixes a hole in the ground. Because construction companies totally move all of their equipment, labor, manpower, machinery to a work site before having their permit approved, which could take months or longer.
The city is broken. I said I'd fix it.
Foreman! Who's the foreman?
Hey, you're the mayor.
Yes.
How you doing?
I want you to stop what you're doing and fill that hole. You have the equipment and the manpower.
Hey, sorry, sir. It's the red tape. We're waiting on the permit approval.
Consider it approved.
Got it. Fella! Hold! Let's go! Now! Move! Mikey! Hey, we're back in business!
Yes. Filling a hole like this, it's not rocket science. Remember I told you that I'd get things done? Well, here I am getting them done.
And the last thing I wanted to squeeze into here was Matt's faith. Now, we heard rumblings about how his faith was going to be toned down a lot, and so far it definitely has. Sure, we have this interaction.
I was raised to believe in grace, that we can be touched by the divine and transformed into a better person.
But in reality, there's no confession, there's no church under or overtones of the church. The closest Matt has come to a church was this, watching it from the outside, even though he's blind. And if you're going to remove a critical part of the Daredevil character and storyline, why even bother with the Born Again title, which is a deeply rooted religious term? It makes no sense. I mean, if he stopped being religious and then went back to being religious, okay, maybe. But to name it this just because he comes back as Daredevil after a year off, quite frankly, is shit. And for those of you who may have been confused by this particular exchange,
I tried to mentor someone, but... well, that's the closest I've come.
Didn't she shoot you in the face?
Yeah.
well, we must take a painful portal to the past, back into the DEI land of the MCU, to the shit show that was Echo, you know, a disabled borderline superhero who can beat up pretty much anyone, shoots Fisk in the eye, and you might be thinking, what the hell does this have to do with Daredevil?
And then you guys show up.
None of my men have ever held their own with him like that. You did better than even I expected.
Uh-huh. And I just wanted to end on this piece of cheese right here, where Daredevil drops his helmet from the roof and it clearly has no horn when he drops it. I mean, it's part of the intro. Yet somehow, amid all the chaos and craziness, Karen found it and returns it to him. I'd say you just can't make this stuff up, but look where we are. I know we still got 7 episodes to go, plus another second season. Except...
But a tragedy had to destroy everything.